Hey guys, it's Liv here, and in today's video we're going to be using a Gholdengo team in the VGC Battle Spot ladder for the opening day of the Battle Spot. If you guys enjoy this content, you want to see more like it, leave a like and subscribe for more. And with that said, let's get right into it. First up, of course, we do have a Gholdengo on our team. It is a Gholdengo team after all. The point of this set is basically it's a Nasty Plot Protect set. Protect is obviously great to get around potential fake out since our Terra type is actually Terra Water here. So getting around potential fake out is still pretty valuable on this. The reason we're potential Terra Water on this set is mostly just due to other Gholdengos. It's an option that resists steel. We're going to take a lot less from Ghost at the same time, and also it's still pretty decent for other Pokemon in general. Water's a great defensive typing and just matches up pretty well as a whole for the metagame. So we'll be going with Terra Water Gholdengo. I think it'll be pretty interesting. Again, having a good Make It Rain resist as well as a good option for opposing Gholdengo with Shadow Ball will be pretty nice, and this will also be great for matchups such as Grimmsnarl that would otherwise try and Sucker Punch us through, so that'll be pretty strong in my opinion. With Shadow Ball plus Make It Rain, we should honestly be able to handle a lot of different things, and Gholdengo's ability is amazing for blocking stuff such as Parting Shot Grim, stuff such as Thunder Wave from Prankster Grim. Really, it just shuts down Grimmsnarl basically. This is like the ultimate Grimmsnarl counter, especially the fact that we do Terra away from our Ghost typing should make this thing so amazing. Next up, we do have AMOONGUSS with the Mental Herb with Regen. We have Spore, Protect, Rage Powder, and Clear Smog. Basically, this is just designed to be a really good redirection option for us, making sure that Pokemon maybe aren't attacking Gholdengo on a Nasty Plot turn. We're also Terra Water on this set, though you could go for a lot of different options. Water, I found, is just really good for matchups such as Sun, though you could just as easily go for Terra Fire and be pretty set, which would help, I guess. I don't know, I feel like you'd really want to go for Terra Fire if you're going to go for like a potential matchup such as Terra Blast, which would be good for other AMOONGUSS potentially, but Water is still pretty good. Just the point is that it's a Sun resist, and that's really all it is here. With the next mon being Grimmsnarl, this is just designed to be a really good support option. With the Covert Cloak as well, this should be pretty good because this means that Pokemon such as really just any fake out Pokemon can't actually fake out us, and will be completely immune to the secondary effects, which is great because that means we can guarantee get up screens turn one, we can guarantee go for Thunder Wave for speed control and take out a really big threat. We can do a lot of different things, and I know that Grimmsnarl is definitely a pretty decent fake out option, or at least a Pokemon that people typically do fake out into because of the fact that this is such a game-changing support option. So having Covert Cloak I think is a good trade-off despite losing 3 turns of screens, because going for 5 turns of screens should still be enough to at least change the game to where, despite Grim maybe not being around to reset them, we can clear enough threats to where something such as Gholdengo can win. So I'm perfectly fine with this trade-off. Next up, we do have BAXCALIBUR with the Clear Amulet. Clear Amulet is great because this means that our opponent can't actually drop our stats. Functions basically similar to the stat aspect of Gholdengo's Goddess Gold ability, which basically means that, again, Grimmsnarl can't Parting Shot on us, which is great. Intimidate has no effect on us, which is great, especially for a Dragon Dance Pokemon. With Dragon Ice typing, this is an absolute monster offensively. With Glaive Rush, it's just a really good Dragon offensive option since this is a Terra Dragon option. And in tandem with Gholdengo, these two break really well for each other because Gholdengo's job is to handle a lot of the different Pokemon such as Steel types by going for Shadow Ball on them and resisting them. Whereas also this can Gholdengo can be used to handle fairies by just going for Make It Rain and massacring them. And BAXCALIBUR can just take out a lot of different grounds that would worry Gholdengo, or even just, again, being a general offensive nuisance. Most teams cannot take on both these Pokemon, and having to go for the 50-50 between which will actually be a Terrestrial option is pretty big for teams. Next up, we do have Terra Electric Rotom with Safety Goggles. Safety Goggles is great for AMOONGUSS matchups because this is one of, if not the best Rotom forms to handle AMOONGUSS. We do have Overheat, Will-O-Wisp, Protect, and Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt is great for just general coverage. It especially helps with potential Water-type matchups. We also have Overheat, which is, again, great for AMOONGUSS, and also just great for Steals in general because that helps BAXCALIBUR a lot. With Will-O-Wisp, we're pretty good at just burning a lot of physical threats besides BAXCALIBUR because it's immune, but still stuff like maybe Garchomp, which is it's one of the best Pokemon in the meta right now, so burning Garchomp is honestly going to be really valuable here. And yeah, just stuff like that. Rotom in general is just really meant to be a good support piece here. And our final mon on the team is none other than Gardevoir with a Choice Scarf with the Trace ability. This is designed to basically just function as a Fluttermane substitute, which beforehand was a really fast fairy type that was going for Specs Gleam. Gardevoir can go for Scarf and still be pretty terrifying though, with Dazzling Gleam, Moonblast, Psychic, and Destiny Bond. Destiny Bond, if we really need to, can be active to trade a KO, so then we can pick off an opponent that's otherwise really threatening. With Psychic, it's great for stuff like AMOONGUSS and other poison types, or really just other Pokemon that are weak to Psychic. And with Moonblast, it's just a single target fairy option, though in most cases, we'll be using this for Dazzling Gleam. And I will say that the Trace ability is definitely your best case here. It's great for copying stuff such as Intimidate from Pokemon such as Arcanine and Salamence, or even potentially Friend Guard from Mousehold. I actually was watching Wolfie doing some laddering today right before playing this. this. And I saw him copy Friend Guard, and honestly, really, really good option for Gardevoir as well, because it's great support for the rest of the team. But regardless though, with that said, let's get right into the laddering session. Until then, peace out guys. Hey guys, it's Liv here. In today's video, we're going to be taking on the Battle Spot doubles ladder for the first day of the official ranked. I know it started technically like last night, but it's okay. We're playing it this morning. If you guys enjoy this type of content and if you want to see more like it, leave a like on the video and subscribe. With that said though, let's aim for like 40 likes on this. I know that VGC content doesn't do as well on the channel, which is unfortunate because honestly I've been enjoying VGC more than singles this gen. But yeah, with that said though, let's get into it. So looking at my opponent's team, their team is honestly fairly BAXCALIBUR weak. I think I'm gonna lead off with Bax. Since Bax should be pretty decent, I can potentially protect around with BAXCALIBUR at least. I'm gonna definitely bring Gardevoir in the back since Scarf Guard should be pretty decent here, barring I guess Scarf from Yaskurata. And then, as far as my last mon goes, I'm kind of a big fan of bringing... I think I'm actually going to bring Rotom. I was going to bring AMOONGUSS to try and potentially go for Spores on their team. But I do like Rotom a bit better in case they do manage to get Trick Room up, as that would be a pretty big oh no moment. So just making sure I have an out to Trick Room would be nice, and Rotom's arguably my best out to that. So good luck and fun to my opponent here. If you guys are interested in using this team yourselves, there will be a link to it down below, as well as a link to the, well, not a link, but there will also be a rental code down below for anyone who is interested. But yeah, honestly, this team has been really fun, in my opinion, to use. I've been doing a ton of testing with this, actually, even ahead of the ladder coming out, truthfully. So again, been really looking forward to showcasing this. Now, I will say, I know that Mouse will get some decent support, but I am kind of curious on what support this gets in particular. This does not seem to get Fake Out, which is really good for me, though they block priority as well, at least towards, I believe we can still use priority like on our side of the field, but it's more so priority towards like their Pokemon. Like I can't T-Wave Mousehold, but I'm pretty sure I can Reflect. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go for Dragonite here plus the Reflect, and I'm gonna try and get off just whatever I can damage wise against them. Now, I will say this Mousehold core is definitely pretty annoying, to say the least, but thankfully they didn't go for Tidy Up, which, in my opinion, is a bit of a choke here, actually, because now I'm going to be able to outpace them. They would quite literally need to be Focus Sash at this point, and we've already gotten our Reflect anyway, so I'm not really too concerned here. If they go for Trick Room, okay, they do go for Trick Room. A little bit unfortunate here, but this also isn't too bad, because what I could do instead now, I'm going to go for a Spirit Break on Mousehold, and then I'm going to go for Protect on my BAXCALIBUR. Basically, the thought here is to try and make sure that I'm not going to get 10 hit with Population Bomb on my BAXCALIBUR. Even with the Reflect up, I really don't want to have to take that hit. They're going to go for Follow Me, which, truthfully, if they're not clicking Population Bomb, this mon isn't a threat to me. Genuinely speaking, it is not a threat to me unless they're clicking Population Bomb. So I will actually take that very much so. We see the Spirit Break does basically no damage. And I know this thing has Friend Guard and that's kind of like one of the benefits, but I'm shocked they're actually trying to redirect this hit. We have gotten off the first Spirit Break here, and I'm just going to go for a second one, and then I'm going to go for the Glaive Rush on... Actually, no, I'm not going to go for Glaive Rush, purely because of the fact that I think that there's a good chance that that Farigiraf could potentially Terra Fairy here, which it didn't seem to, but I wasn't really going to feel comfortable risking that, in all honesty, because in the off chance that my opponent did Terra Fairy that turn, and I went for Glaive Rush with Terra Dragon, I not only burn my Terra at that point, but I also then make sure that I am not damaging Farigiraf at all. So going for Crash here felt like the safer play, in my opinion. Now, we've seen that Mousehold is completely taken out. We know that Farigiraf has Trick Room and D-Gleam. It probably has Hyper Voice and Protect as the last moves, though Psychic's also fairly viable here. As far as what I'm going to do this turn, we see Hariyama come in. I'm definitely going to go for a Spirit Break on Hariyama, and I'm definitely going to go for a Protect on BAXCALIBUR. Next turn, I'm going to open up the idea of potentially going for Terastal on BAXCALIBUR, but I'm still 50-50 on it. I kind of want to wait and see what they're going to go for this turn, because my intention is hoping that they kill off Grimmsnarl here, because if they take out Grimmsnarl here, that opens up a lot for me, because I can bring in something that will actually be more beneficial in this matchup, and try and from there... Okay, so they're actually going to let me just get the Spirit Break off. That's perfectly fine. I'm kind of shocked that Farigiraf outpaced us. Oh, that's why. Okay. So they went for Trick Room, which, truthfully, this is somehow even better for me. Because what I can actually do instead now, I can go for... Not only can I go for the Terastal on BAXCALIBUR, which is, in my opinion, now, truthfully, my only play, because I'm going to assume they're going to Bullet Punch me. So I'm going to go for the Terrestrial Icicle Crash. I'm still going to go for Icicle Crash in case they Terra Fairy on the Farigiraf here. Because I don't want to take more damage than I have to from Bullet Punch. They're probably going to attack me thinking that I'm weak to Steel, which is fine. They're allowed to do that. However, at the same time though, if they do go for Bullet Punch here, yeah, they'll outpace, but they'll be doing less damage. And if they don't go for a Bullet Punch here, then Grim outpaces them anyway. So I'm pretty set here regardless. They're actually going to Bullet Punch Grimmsnarl, which truthfully is somehow even better for me, because I could bring in a more useful Mon at this point. And Farigiraf is going to be dead before I can even get up another Trick Room, which will, again, also be really beneficial for me. So Hariyama's been really only clicking Bullet Punch. We know it is Flame Orb though, so it's not like a choice set, so we do need to keep that in mind. It also means it's probably Guts, which, again, I'm not really too concerned with. Reflect wore off, which is a little annoying here, but I'm not too concerned with this. I'm going to bring in ROTOM-HEAT. ROTOM-HEAT should be able to Thunderbolt this Hariyama pretty easily, and I'm going to go for Protect on Bax, because I don't really need to actually do anything else at this point. My opponent is going to bring in Torkoal. Yeah, this is honestly perfectly fine. Because at this point, I just go for Thunderbolt. I guarantee my KO on Hariyama, and then I leave it into a 2v1 versus Torkoal, where I can guarantee get off 2 really strong hits. Now, Torkoal is 100% going for Terrestrial Fire here, but it really doesn't actually make a difference, in my opinion. Because, for one, BAXCALIBUR to resist, and I'll be able to get off 2 really strong attacks between Glaive Rush as well as my Scarf Gardevoir hit. So Torkoal really isn't actually a threat here. Hariyama's lost its speed control with Fake Out, which is, again, also really good for me. It has Bullet Punch as its best way to attack, but if it does go for Bullet Punch, I've protected on Bax and Rotom's to resist. If it didn't go for Bullet Punch, it's not getting off any damage before I go for T-Bolt here. So either case is pretty okay with me. I think I've guaranteed won this game at this point. I can't really actually see an out for my opponent. We do see that Rotom is going to get off the T-Bolt, and Hariyama is now officially dead. It's just Torkoal versus the world, and again, there's not really a Torkoal set here, even if they go for Terrestrial Fire, that actually does anything. So, Rotom is Levitate. Okay, that's what you get with rank 1 games, I guess. But we're definitely going to go for T-Bolt into the Rotom slot, and I'm definitely going to go for the Glaive Rush. If Glaive Rush somehow doesn't KO, Thunderbolt 100% will. So, yeah, my opponent cancels the battle. GG to my first opponent. With that said, let's get into game number 2. Okay, so moving on to game number 2, my opponent has AMOONGUSS, Annihilape, they have Palafin, BAXCALIBUR, they have ROTOM-HEAT, and they have Grimmsnarl. Now, I will say, I know I mentioned in one of my other vids that I mostly did the note-taking for best of 3s, but I do like it still for this because I need to figure out what 4 Pokemon came, and I think that's still a very valuable asset here. Regardless, though, I just wanted to explain that point. I'm going to lead off with Grimm here for sure. I think I'm going to lead off with Gholdengo, actually, because I am a little bit scared of the potential for a BAXCALIBUR lead. And even if Annihilape leads, I can actually go for Terra Water and be fine against the hit. As far as my other Pokemon go, I'm definitely going to bring Gardevoir here. I think Gardevoir is an amazing matchup against this team, actually, as long as I position it right. And I think for last mon, I am going to bring BAXCALIBUR, but I think there's a little bit of merit to AMOONGUSS. I think I'm going to ultimately settle on BAXCALIBUR here. I think realistically, unless Annihilape bleeds, I'm going to go for Terra on Bax again. But if Annihilape does end up bleeding here, I'm 100% going to go for Terra on Gholdengo, because I think the Terra Gholdengo will ultimately be a bit smarter here. But regardless, though, good luck and fun to my opponent. I love the fact that they took their picture in front of the Iona board. As someone who, I have the Iona pick for my small PFP, so I definitely like seeing it on someone else's as well. We do see the Annihilape leads. That's perfectly fine. I'm 100% going to go for the Reflect here. Just to try and take the Annihilape hits a bit better. I'm going to go for Terrestrial. I'm going to go for Terrestrial Water, and I'm going to go for a Shadow Ball here. Specifically, I'm going to go for a Shadow Ball into... Actually, no, I'm going to go for a... Yeah, I'm going to go for a Shadow Ball here. No, I'm going to go for a Make It Rain. I think Make It Rain will be a bit better. My guess is that Grimm is going to be flip turned into from Palafin, which is perfectly fine. I can get some good damage on Grimm while also getting some good damage on the Annihilape. And then I can T-Wave it the following turn and just outpace. We don't even actually need to T-Wave it next turn, which is pretty interesting. I should have Terra Watered here. In all honesty, that was definitely a misplay. I thought I Terra Watered. But maybe they're going to go for like a Bulk Up or something, which will kind of bail me out. But I 100% should have Terra Watered here. If anyone is, for some reason in this situation at home, Terra Water in this turn. That was such a terrible play by me. So, regardless though, we're going to see Grimmsnarl ending up coming in. Poison Jab actually goes off on Grimm. That's perfectly fine. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go for a Thunder Wave here on the Annihilape. and I'm going to go for a Terra Water into a Shadow Ball. Even despite Annihilate ending up getting taken out this turn, it still is pretty useful actually, because my opponent could actually Sucker Punch me with Grimmsnarl, and that could be a pretty big detriment this turn. They could also end up taunting my Grim, and hypothetically speaking, if let's say they Speed Tie my Gholdengo, and I maybe just got a little too comfortable here, then I could end up losing my Gholdengo still anyway. So there's still a lot of factors taken into account. So I do think ultimately Terra Water on Gholdengo is still my best play at this turn. There's no way I would be shocked if both plays happened. They're going to go for Light Screen here. Okay, that's honestly fine. They'll definitely take my hit comfortably, but I'm not too concerned. Because despite being -1, we're no longer going for a spread move. And on top of that as well, this is a super effective attack. So I think we'll actually still do enough to take out Annihilate at this point. They're going to be Lumberry, which is good information. But again, I just kind of need to bank on no Speed Tie here. And then I take them out. Which it seems like we will not take them out. Very unfortunate. So what are they going to go for at this point? They're going to go for Poison Jab again. Perfectly fine by me. We're able to bring in a little bit more useful Pokemon. We've seen that Annihilate has the Lumberry, which means it's not choice. I only say that because of the fact that it was only clicking Poison Jab there. But to be fair, there's a lot of reasons you could just do that. From here, I'm going to go into Gardevoir. I think Gardevoir should realistically be pretty good against everything. I'm going to go for the... Let's see. So I think I'm going to go for Moonblast, I think. Moonblast should be pretty decent. Or I could actually go for I'm going to go for Gleam. Gleam should be pretty good against all these Pokemon, and I'm actually going to go for a Nasty Plot on Gholdengo, just to try and boost it up a little bit more. If my opponent goes for some sort of Protect or maybe a Switch, that's fine, but they definitively have Palafin, Annihilate, and Grimmsnarl. So they only have one resist in the back, and even then, it's not a guarantee they have resist in the back. So if Amoonguss or Rotom come in, that's fine. I can switch out Gardevoir and start clicking Psychic later on, because Gholdengo should be able to take out the rest of the Pokemon from here. So I'm not really too concerned about that. We do know that Palafin is objectively going to come in with 0 to Hero form, but again, I'm not really too concerned with this, since ultimately my opponent is going to struggle a little bit taking out my BAXCALIBUR with Palafin, so I'm pretty okay with this turn. If my opponent decides to go for some sort of dark move here, or some sort of attack on Gholdengo regardless, should be a little bit annoying, but I'll take it. They're actually going to Spirit Break instead, which I don't overly mind this either. We're still going to be pretty decent, albeit the Defiant's really fucking useless right now. But we're still only -1, which isn't too big of a deal. We've gotten up a Nasty Plot with Gholdengo here, and we're going to resist Palafin, which is pretty good for us. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go for a Dazzling Gleam here. If my opponent goes for Jet Punch, so be it. We'll still get off some good damage. And I'm going to go for a Shadow Ball into the Palafin slot. I just want to get off some good damage here. And Grim isn't really that big of a threat with its current moveset. And plus with the D-Gleam, I'll still get off a good enough amount of damage to where I can pick it off and make it rain the following turn. So I'm not really too concerned about the set of plays. I just want some more damage on Palafin is all. We do know that Annihilate is at least gone. They're probably going to Terra Water here with Palafin. So I'm not really too concerned with this play. If they're going to go for like Terra Fighting or something, they're going to go for Terra Steel. Okay, so Terra Steel is interesting, but I'm really glad I clicked Shadow Ball here, because I could have actually very much wasted a Make It Rain turn here. My opponent's going to go for Parting Shot, which thankfully Gholdengo is completely unaffected by, and Grimmsnarl ends up being forced to stay in, which is pretty good for me actually. That's really good for me, because they've basically now wasted a turn by making this sequence. We also know their Palafin is extremely slow, which is again really decent information for later. And not only the Terra Blast, but also their stabs from beforehand are resisted by Gholdengo. So again, really beneficial here. Gardevoir dies, not too concerning at this point. Because what I can actually do from here, I can go for BAXCALIBUR. We know for a fact Gholdengo outpaces. And I believe my BAXCALIBUR is a little bit faster than Gholdengo. I want to say it's a little bit faster than Gholdengo. So we are very slightly faster actually. So this is perfect. What I can do here, I can go for a... I think I'm going to go for a Glaive Rush? No, I think I'm going to go for... I think I'm going to go for an Icicle Crash on the Grimmsnarl. And I'm going to go for... No, just to be safe, because I can't really lose this mon actually, I'm going to go for a Glaive Rush on... Nope, Icicle Crash on Palafin. And I'm going to go for a Shadow Ball on the... Hold on. Nope, I don't have enough time. I'm gonna go for Shadow Ball on the Palafin. I was gonna try and pull up a Calc real quick, but I don't really have that sort of time. If this thing goes for Parting Shot again, ooh, perfect. I love the Clear Amulet. It's such a good item. Oh my god, this is truthfully I think one of my favorite new items this gen. We should be able to take out Palafin here though, which is amazing for us. We've essentially also deadlocked Grimmsnarl in, which means that on the following turn, Literally, I think no matter what Pokemon comes in, I'm going to go for Make It Rain. Even if a Resist comes in, I'm going to go for Make It Rain here. Just solely for the fact that I do think it's in my best interest to try and make sure that I'm getting off as much damage on Grimmsnarl as possible. And I should be able to take it out. We're +1 now instead of -1 like we were earlier. So, and also BAXCALIBUR came in anyway, which is amazing for us. I'm going to go for a Glaive Rush here, actually, and I'm just going to go for Make It Rain. These two attacks in tandem should be really good, and BAXCALIBUR doesn't have a spread move. It's also not able to Terra, which means it's definitely going to be 2 super effective attacks here. And at best, BAXCALIBUR speed ties mine, which means that we just need to be better. We just need to win the speed tie. Their Grim will probably go for Reflect here, which, so be it. It's probably quite literally the same set as mine, but with Parting Shot over T-Wave. If they do have only Light Screen, okay, so they go for Light Screen, which they already had up. Again, really high quality, low rank games. But BAXCALIBUR ends up getting taken out, which is amazing for us. And then Grimm should be taken out, guaranteed as well, especially without this being a spread move. So, very good game to my opponent for game 2. Again, the team is really kicking ass. I'm really hoping that we can continue to see this sort of success in our next game, or maybe next 2 games on the ladder that we end up taking on. But this should 100% push us into rank 3, which is honestly going to be really nice. So with that said, I will see you guys in the next portion of this vid. Okay, so up next, we're going to be taking on our first Tailwind team, actually, which is pretty interesting. They have Gholdengo, Talonflame, AMOONGUSS, Sylveon, Gyarados, and Grimmsnarl. Okay, so this is definitely fairly interesting, actually. That's probably going to be a Talonflame lead, in all honesty, which I can't actually do a lot about, other than leading off with Rotom. I think I'm definitely going to lead off with Rotom plus Grimmsnarl here. I think it should match up really well because I'm anticipating that either Talonflame plus Gholdengo leads or Talonflame plus Gyarados leads. And if nothing else, having Grimmsnarl here helps with both because I can actually just Raw Thunderbolt either way. I'm going to actually, I think regardless, probably attack Talon, but we'll have to see. Just because it'll be a bit safer to attack. We're going to definitely go for, I think I'm going to bring a Amoonguss in the back for sure here, but at the same time, it's kind of a gamble. But I think I'm going to definitely go Gholdengo. I think Gholdengo should be decent against our Amoonguss matchup. And I kind of think I'm going to bring, BAXCALIBUR again. BAXCALIBUR honestly is such a good win con here, considering their only actual resist is Gholdengo, which I have a lot for with this sort of composition. So I'm going to bank on this. I think Amoonguss could have also had a lot of merit here over BAXCALIBUR though. So I'm going to kind of hope that that's not like a Terra Ground Gyarados or something, or like a Terra Water Gyarados, because that could be pretty terrifying. But if it's terrifying, then I stand by my play completely. Regardless, though, they're going to lead off with Gholdengo Grimmsnarl. Okay, so very interesting, actually. We're going to lead off with Rotom Grimmsnarl, so I should be pretty okay here. I'm going to go for a Protect on a Rotom, and I'm going to go for a Light Screen on Gholdengo, and on Grimmsnarl. Because my game plan here basically is to try and, they're going to definitely go for Light Screen of their own, which is fine. I think that Gholdengo will probably go for some sort of Make It Rain hit here, or maybe even Terrestrial Plot. But I want to scout what that, I want to scout what the Terrestrial typing is. They're going to double here, actually, into Gyarados, which is truthfully a lot better for me. That is so much better for me. Now, I will say it is pretty likely that's a Terra Ground Gyarados. I feel like it's almost guaranteed. That's probably the only reason they would actually bring it in on a ROTOM-HEAT here, which I am pretty okay with, actually. I'm going to go for a Reflector Grimmsnarl, and I'm going to go for a Will-O-Wisp with Rotom. If nothing else, even if they are Terra Water, that should help a lot, actually, with this sequence. If they go for, like, a Taunt with Grimmsnarl, that's not a huge deal, as long as it's not in the Rotom slot. We're going to go for Reflect, though, and I'm going to go for a Will-O-Wisp. My guess is if they go for Taunt on Grimm, they're probably going to go for Taunt into the Grimmsnarl slot, so it stops being support. And if nothing else, even just burning the Gyarados is pretty big for me later on. So they're going to go for Parting Shot here, which isn't really a big concern, even despite the fact that they have decided to Parting Shot instead of maybe going for like a Terrestrial Gyarados play. It's really good for me, actually. We know that Grimm has Parting Shot and Light Screen, though. It's probably literally my set, but again, with no T-Wave and has Parting Shot. So it's good to know. They've also now revealed their entire 4, which is really useful. That means no Sylveon and no Talonflame, which honestly not playing around Tailwind is pretty decent. I can't lie, because Talonflame could have made this matchup really hell. We also know that we outpaced their Gyarados. At least we did outpace their Gyarados, which is, again, good information. So I will definitely take that. Okay. So I think I have no actual remorse in clicking Thunderbolt here on the Gyarados. If they decide to go for some sort of Terra Ground here, that's fine. My Rotom's still immune to it. and it would really only be beneficial to get them immune as well. Which I think that with how they're playing this, they're probably going to go for Terra this turn. I can't imagine they won't. If they're Terra Water, though, this works really well for me. But Amoonguss could, to be fair, also have Rage Powder, which could be annoying. It doesn't seem like it did. They're probably going to go for a Spore then, which is really okay with me. Despite being -1, I think Gyarados will still take half. Yeah, okay, half makes a lot of sense there. And I'm going to assume that the Gyarados will just die to at least one of the hits. They're going to thankfully Spore the Grimmsnarl. So what I think I'm actually going to do here, Gyarados will probably die to Burn within 2 more turns. No, okay, it's going to take a couple more attacks, but I'm still okay with this. I'm going to go for the Protect on... Actually, hold on. I think I'm Safety Goggles on Rotom, right? I'm Safety Goggles here? Yeah, I'm Safety Goggles. Okay. I'm going to go for Protect on Rotom here, and I'm going to go for a Spirit Break on Grim into the Gyarados slot. I think this should ultimately be my best case, because I can stall out Gyarados to die to Burn next turn by doing this, which will be beneficial. Also, with Rotom being immune to Spore, I get off 2 Overheats this way, which will be really amazing for us. We know as well their team is fairly weak to Rotom, which should be really nice for later on. And I can switch out Rotom just to stack something else. They're actually going to go for Clear Smog here. Not really sure why they're Clear Smogging, I'll be honest, because it only actually hurts them right now. So I will definitely take that. I'm going to go for the Overheat here on the Amoonguss slot, and I'm going to go for the Spirit Break on the Amoonguss slot, because Gyarados, again, guaranteed dies to Burn, and it should outpace my entire team right now, so I don't mind just clicking this. Okay, so Gyarados is now officially taken out, which is great for me. Amoonguss will definitely take this with the light screen up. Yeah, that does like no damage at all. So I'm not overly concerned about this, and Clear Smog should do enough damage at least to where they'll probably, I mean, they're probably going to not KO me necessarily, but they'll get me very close to death. So this is Rocky Helmet Amoonguss, which is very interesting. They're going to go for Spore actually, thankfully into the Rotom slot. Okay. So Gyarados is gone, and we know that this Amoonguss has Spore and Clear Smog. Gyarados is completely out of the picture. That means they're probably going to go for Terra on Gholdengo, which I'm fine with all of these things, actually. I'm going to go switch out from Rotom here into... I think I'm going to switch into... What do I want to actually bring in? Because I feel like I could actually maybe just leave Rotom in and go for an Overheat on Gholdengo. I think that's still honestly fine. And I can go for a... Spirit Break on Gholdengo as well, just to drop any sort of offense. Well, actually, I think it's Spirit Break is special, but I'm still fine with this. They're probably going to go for a Nasty Plot on Gholdengo. I don't mind them going for Nasty Plot on Gholdengo. Oh, I know. Right, because we're immune to Rage Powder with this. So it's honestly really good. Worst case, I mean, Grim, I guess, has to let Rotom get some damage off, which is fine. We know as well that our Rotom outpaces Grimmsnarl, which is actually really big information, because this actually means that... well, no, never mind. I thought Gholdengo was 87, which is still not a big deal. We're gonna go for the Terra Water on Gholdengo. Well, actually, no, I'm not gonna go for Terra Water here. I think I'm gonna wait to Terastal. Gholdengo is still weakened. I can go for an Overheat this turn, and I'm gonna go for a... No, I am gonna go for a Terra Water here. I think it'll be beneficial. They're not gonna go for Giga Drain on Gholdengo with this, or not on Gholdengo with Amoonguss. I just want to make sure I take out theirs without risking mine. And Amoonguss at this point is basically useless. It really does nothing here unless it for some reason predicts that I am Terra Water and goes for Giga Drain. If they're going to go into Grimmsnarl here, that's fine. That means they do need to take a -4 Overheat, which albeit they'll take pretty well. But they also need to take a Shadow Ball, which, again, they'll take pretty well. But I can go for a... I mean, we know that they're probably not going to be Sucker Punch, and even if they are, I'm fine with this. I can... It's going to be interesting. I'm kind of curious if they Rage Powdered here, which if they did, I'm fine with that. Overheat from Rotom is going to get off, like, no damage at all, which, so be it. I don't really care. If they take out my Rotom here, that's also pretty okay with me. In fact, actually, truthfully, them taking out Rotom would be a lot better for me. So I'm kind of hoping they do. Regardless, they're going to go for Clear Smog on the Rotom, take it out. Okay, so that's perfect. Because this means I can bring in BAXCALIBUR here. And BAXCALIBUR can truthfully just go for Icicle Crash, and I can go for that plus Make It Rain. And this should be a pretty damn good turn. My opponent now needs to basically choose, do they weaken my Make It Rain attack, which should do some good damage to both Pokemon here. Actually, no, I'm going to go for Crash here. I need to definitely go for Crash, because I can't really risk my opponent going for Spore. Because if I let BAXCALIBUR go to sleep, that's pretty terrible for me. However, with my current moveset, I should actually be pretty okay if my opponent just lets me take out AMOONGUSS. Because with them going into Gholdengo later on, sure, they'll go for Make It Rain, which will kind of suck for BAXCALIBUR, but I'll get off the attack first. And not only this, but my Gholdengo resists both of my opponent's stabs, so I should be pretty fine with this turn. And even with the -1, I'm still pretty okay with this. They'll go for Light Screen. It failed because they went for Light Screen and their Light Clay. Thankfully, we are Covert Cloak, so that sort of play wouldn't have mattered for us. But they're going to, despite having Light Screen up, they're going to still take a ton of damage here from this Make It Rain. And I don't think we'll KO, but we'll get... Oh, we actually do KO. Okay, well, I'm kind of shocked. Was that a crit? That definitely wasn't a crit, right? Yeah, I'm kind of shocked. Well, we're -1. We should still honestly be able to take out the Gholdengo, though. I'm going to go for the Light Screen for Wealth anyway. Okay, so I'm definitely going to go for Shadow Ball on Gholdengo into Gholdengo, and I'm going to go for Glaive Rush here. I think it's definitely my best play. Yeah, I'm going to go for Glaive Rush. I think realistically both these attacks combined should be enough. If my opponent goes for Make It Rain, they're not only weakening their own offense, but on top of this as well, they're also going to be potentially just not doing enough damage. They're going to go for Terrestrial Steel here. So they're boosting Make It Rain, which I'm fine with. I'm actually really fine with them boosting Make It Rain. But even still, I guess if they went for Terra Ghost, that means they're no longer resisting this. So this is fine. Realistically, my Shadow Ball should pick this off anyway, despite being -1. If it doesn't take them out, I mean, I could have still definitely picked them off next turn, because Gholdengo couldn't have boosted speed unless it's Salic. And if it really was Salic Berry, just my opponent deserves to win at that point, I'll be completely honest. But yeah, we managed to go 3-0 for the day. Honestly, I'll definitely take that. If you guys want to try this team out for yourselves, obviously, I will say, to be fair, this is very, like, bottom of the ladder right now. I still think this team will hold up on high ladder, though. It's a really strong composition, and if you want to try it out yourself, the run code will be down below. If you enjoy this type of content and you want to see more like it, leave a like and subscribe. We'll have a Belly Bolt vid coming out tomorrow. We're going to do a few Battle Spot vids in a row just to grind through the low ladder, and then starting on we'll do Battle Spot 3 days in a row, probably, from today, tomorrow, and Sunday. Or maybe not, depending on if I get a third team from Clutch. And then it'll be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday from there on out. So make sure you guys stay subscribed for more Battle Spot content. And with that said, shout out to our channel members, of course, being Josh, Ultra Player, Mia, and Zeke0. Your support is greatly appreciated. And if you want to become a channel member today, the button's down below for that, as well as for our Discord and Twitter, where you can stay up to date on future content. And I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, peace out, guys.